Hello and welcome to Eislyns Apocalypse, a visual novel about a threat that is being fulfilled in the city of Moria City. A threat of darkness, monsters, madness and disease that have now infiltrated, and what appears to be the end is coming. So yeah, with that I guess we'll start our adventure and see if we can defeat it. Hopefully. Ooh, okay, we actually get to... Oh no, I thought we got to choose our character to look like, but I guess not. There was something about Moria. Even though it was a large city, it seemed to have the same atmosphere as a small town. Everyone knew each other and nothing bad happened. It was almost as if it had a soul of its own that connected everyone and pleaded peace and harmony. It was the perfect place for Jared Varden to raise his family. He happily moved to the city of his wife's childhood to raise their daughter in such a happy and safe environment. But when a series of murders took place, murders of children no less, felt betrayed. Perhaps he had grown too optimistic, but in the back of his mind he had begun to believe it wasn't possible for people that lived here to be cruel. It may have come from living in a place where most of his cases as a private investigator were resolved as a simple misunderstanding for so long. Regardless of feelings, though, a friend of his daughter's had been murdered. The killings hadn't stopped there. Jared felt like he had to do something. Jared stared down at the card in his hand as he walked. It was an ID card, one that held the name Thomas Vinnies, a forgery he had been given that would allow him access to the steelworks factory he was on his way towards. The card had been given to him by someone else who was trying to stop the silent killings. A member of a small group of people comprised of reporters, private investigators, parents, and concerned citizens who had also been looking into the mysterious chain of events. Looking for leads, a motive, in this city where murders were extremely rare, these dark and well-concealed crimes stood out. Because yes, even though children had been turning up dead and mutilated, according to some witnesses, there was no evidence to be gathered. Somehow, time between a witness finding a phone and calling the police, and then returning to the corpse had always disappeared. Someone's cleaned up what few bodies had been sighted, quickly and efficiently, before the police were ever able to arrive. It was a mystery. For Jared, after a good deal of research, he suspected two people. One was Mrs. Nightingale, who was in charge of the Nightingale orphanage. Most of the children who had gone missing had been from the orphanage. Seems a little too easy. I'm assuming that's probably why the killer is going after that, because I know that they will point fingers at her, because, it seems a little too obvious. This was true right up until people started to realize that children weren't just going missing, but being killed. After that, the circle widened to children that lived near the orphanage. The other person he suspected was Mr. Perth Thorndyke. This one was a bit more of a stretch, but Mr. Thorne was one of the richest people in the city of Moria. He had earned a good deal of that money before he moved here. Jared heard of Mr. Thorne before either Jared or Thorne had moved to the city. His methods were more than a little suspicious. If they had been convicted of any crime yet, Jared was sure he had amassed his wealth by using sketchy means. The fact that he chose to move here had really seemed odd to Jared. In a place with such a low crime rates as this, any crime that was committed was sure to have a spotlight on it. But Thorne appeared to have mended his ways, at least on the surface. Jared figured that there was someone corrupt enough to kill kids in Memoria, and had the means to cover it up with such a or in a such try that again, in such a startling way, would be Mr. Thorne. Now the rest of the group dedicated to catching the killer didn't really believe in his theory. Jared himself knew he didn't have much to back it up. It was a hunch, a conspiracy theory if you will, but something inside of him told him he was right. One member of the group was actually a mechanic that often went to inspect the machinery at Mr. Thorne's steelworks factory. He also didn't believe Jared's theory, but he also wasn't going to dismiss it either. So when Jared asked him for help, he gave him some pointers and pretended that Jared, or rather Thomas Hoonies, was a fellow mechanic and recommended his services while he was out of town. Jared mused that he was going pretty far for a mere hunch. But with his fake ID in hand and the doors of the factory looming before him, didn't have much time to mull this over anymore. And so, under the guise of being Thomas Finney's mechanic, he entered. "Hello, Mr. Finney's. Glad to see you finally arrived." A man with an honest-looking face grinned and came to greet him. "Oh, not too late, am I?" Jared instinctively reached for the watch he always had hung around his neck, and then hesitated. He had hidden it under his jacket specifically because it stuck out. Didn't want anyone to recognize him later. Workers started to laugh. No, forgive me. It's merely impatience on my part. You have to stop the equipment for the inspection, and I'm anxious to get things flowing again. Worker gave another hearty laugh and then asked for his ID card. After verifying his identity, he started walking. Jared followed him into the main part of the building and along the metal walkways. "I apologize if I'm impeding you from completing a deadline or quota." "No, you're good. We got to factor in maintenance into our plan. Anxious for this to get done for purely selfish reasons. I love my job. I love the process of making steel, mixing metals. In fact, even when I get home, I work with it." "Really?" "Yep, I dabble in metal sculpture. Enough about me. Let's take a look at this." Gestured at a huge piece of equipment that Jared really hoped he wasn't going to want to talk about in depth. Jared did his best to look like he was inspecting the machine, according to the instructions of the real mechanic. What, there's nothing wrong with it, is there?" "Not sure. Something looks a bit odd, but it could be nothing. Do you have the schematics for the machine?" Of course, Jared already knew the answer to the question. "Yeah, in a room in the back. Do you need to look at them?" "Yes, I just need to confirm something." "Alright, follow me." "Great," Jared thought as he walked toward the back. He was headed right where he needed to be. Hopefully everything would proceed according to plan. Now we just need to get rid of the worker. "Here we are." "Oh, I almost forgot." Jared interrupted him and explained that the regular mechanic wanted to know the serials of some new equipment they got. After the worker could go and check so he could relay the information back to him. Worker agreed and left. Now Jared had to move quickly. Grabbed the schematics out of the filing cabinet and stuffed them into his pocket. Then he quickly went to look at the other documents. Receipts for purchases of various metals, chemicals. Jared drew a file out. There were some strange chemicals listed on there. Single invoice, high quantities. The most obvious explanation was that they were buying supplies in bulk. However, Jared had done some research before coming to this factory. Knew that these chemicals weren't required for their usual production. Bugged him that wasn't what he was looking for. Put the file back and kept searching. "Why not take it with you? Seems it could be important for later on, you know." I kept flicking through files until he saw one that contained a familiar name. Nightingale Orphanage. Jared grabbed the file. Sure enough, a large donation had been sent to the orphanage shortly before the killing started. Uh-oh. This doesn't look good for our dear lady. It wasn't enough to convict anybody, but did prove his hypothesis. Thorn and the orphanage were connected somehow. So maybe it's the thing where they're working together then? Damn, I had hopes for the orphanage. Suddenly the door started to open. Jared quickly folded the paper and tucked it into a pocket. Oh, sorry, I hadn't been able to find a schematic yet. Well, he had prepared died out of his tongue when he saw who had walked into the room. It was Mr. Thorn himself. Uh-oh, we're so fucked. Oh good, I was hoping to catch you. Thomas Finney's the mechanic, correct? It's not like I want you to look at downstairs. At this point the worker had returned and looked at the two of them in puzzlement. Hello, Mr. Thorn. Can't it wait a little while? Gotta finish up this inspection. Don't worry about it. It hasn't been too long since the equipment was last checked, and you hadn't noticed any problems here, have you, Mr. Vinnies? No, but Excellent. Start it up again. Instead of addressing the worker, the man merely shrugged his shoulders and nodded before leaving the room. Now that Thorn was standing closer to him, Jared noticed that he reeked of what he assumed must be expensive cologne, but to him it smelled like decaying plants. He hid his displeasure with a smile. Actually, I have another appointment to get to. It won't take long. Thorn turned and started walking, obviously expecting Jared to follow. His heart racing, his dad at Mr. Thorn's back as they walked out the room and down the hallway. Not good. Jared wasn't sure how he was going to get out this one. Should he make some kind of excuse? Just run away? Yeah, that'd make us look very suspicious if we did any of that. But Jared was also curious if there were answers to be had at the end of this. Even if ends with your life, potentially. As he mulled over his options, they entered a connected building and descended down a flight of stairs into a basement level. Thorn pushed a button, making the door behind him slam shut. Jared tensed. Wasn't going to be able to go back that way on his own. The basement itself was dimly lit. Passed by a room with an open door, Jared noticed that there were lots of containers and various chemicals in them. The room Thorn did turn to enter was almost pitch black. However, you could make out a heavy wooden desk with what little light there was. As they entered the room, the scent of decayed plants intensified. What do you want me to look at? He'll be here soon. Yeah, that doesn't sound ominous at all. Question is, did you find what you were looking for? From the moment you entered this building, I knew something was amiss. Who are you working for, Jared Varden? Mr. Private Investigator? Or are you working on your own today? Regardless, you are quite brave to come here, and I must applaud you. Your life is over now, you know. Thorn's smile was darkly amused. Jared steeled himself. Hardly. There are people who I know I came to investigate you today. But go missing now will just prove you're involved with the silent killings. So that's why you're here. I see. Well, I can tell you I'm not the one who killed those children. But you ordered someone to do it for you, though? Though I do know who killed them, or did kill them. Then tell me so I can go after them instead. I'll forget the threat you just made. You think you can negotiate with me? I don't think you realize the position you're in. Also, I may not have killed those children, but I never said I wasn't involved. Make a search inside Jared. You're not getting away with this. You still don't get it, do you? It doesn't even matter. You killed a man yesterday. What? Like I said, you killed a man. Body washed up on the shore of the river. Tragic. The police are still looking. The police are looking for you now. Want to know who's behind the silent killings? As far as the police are concerned, it's you. The man you killed was an important witness to the most recent killings. Disposed of him to cover up your tracks. How wicked. At this point, all the evidence points to you being the serial killer. I made sure of that. Jared clenched his teeth. Just how long had Thorne been planning this? False evidence? Even if that's true, what you did comes to light. I honestly don't care. You'll have to investigate, which means they will have to hold you. Which will make you a sitting duck, my friend. As far as my reputation goes, that... He laughed a sinister laugh that chilled Jared to his bones. Doesn't really concern me any longer. I'll soon have to cast my identity aside regardless. Something big is coming. Something huge. Life-changing. Alas, you aren't going to be around to witness it. It was rather funny you decided to drop by today. See, I've been watching you too, Jared Varden. People here are so used to peace and harmony that made them blind. But you've always kept such a keen eye on me. Been a thorn in my side the whole time I've been here in Memoria. Figured pinning the blame on you would be a perfect way to exact my revenge. But now that you're here, you can do something even better. Efforts today haven't been in vain. You've amused me. As such, you've earned the right to be sacrificed. I don't like that. Sacrifices in these kinds of games never end well. Strange smell in the room. Something exploded into something far more toxic. Jared held his hand to his nose, then his eyes. Wide in horror, something emerged from the shadows. Let the hunt begin. Ooh, I don't like the sounds of that. Would have been cool if we saw like a shadow shot behind Thorne there before we faded out. Anyway, next is scene invasion, and we're the character Samara. Pills danced in the air above as Samara walked down the street with some other volunteers after a long day of work. Well, every little bit helps. Make the city a better place. I'm thinking of coming again tomorrow. Do you have any suggestions for where help is needed most? Actually, I heard the healing garden over by Maple was having a bit of trouble. Something about dying. Something about flowers dying. I was going to head there myself, but I'm going to be busy at work after all. So if you have some time, certainly. Thank you, Samara. Looks like it's going to rain soon, so I'd better hurry home. Well, I'll see you next Wednesday. Samara waited as the other volunteers left. She stood on the side of the street and watched the crowd go by. Breathing deeply, the scent of flowers pervaded Memoria City and smiled. This is what she loved about Memoria most. A sense of love and care that flowed through the place. You could feel it in every breath, every heart that wanders the city. She hoped that this otherworldly peace could last forever. Well, about that, something is brewing underneath the city and potentially also outside the city, and now that it's all coming into the city. Flash of lightning arched across the sky. Yep, I think we got the message. Loud and clear. People on the streets below jumped in surprise and then laughed. Everyone started to hurry so they could escape the coming rain. Only some remained standing in the streets, frozen in place. Only she, looking up at the petals dancing in the air, caught a glimpse of what had really shown itself in the sky a moment before. Saw an electric hand, pale and sickly yellow, pound once at the barrier that enclosed Memoria before fading away. All at once, Mara felt like that fragile piece slipping away. Heavy heart, she grabbed something out of her bag and she hoped never to have to use it. Push of a button, a signal was sent out all over Memoria. Everyone that had a device like hers. A call for a meeting. Okay, now we're going over back to Jared. Magnificent, isn't he? Jared hardly heard the words Thorn spoke. He was gazing into the darkness and slowly backing away as dripping flesh and hungry eyes stared at the... whatever that was. Ew, what the fuck are you? Couldn't believe what he was seeing. There's no other words to describe the thing that was walking past Thorn but monster. This is who you're looking for, right? The one who committed the silent killings. He is a good friend of mine. Oh, I see. I definitely didn't expect this. Now, I'm not so cruel as to completely leave you without a chance of escape. While you cannot return where you came from, there is another exit to this building. You can find down here. Some flash just struck at Jared. It was a minor hit, like a cat batting at a mouse to make it run. Pain jolted him out of his frozen terror. Jared bolted out of the room as Mrs. Thorne cackled. Run, run if you can, but he'll find you. Jared ran for his life down dark hallways, his mind racing. What was that thing? How could it exist? Why was it working with Mr. Thorndyke? Could he escape it? Jared didn't know the layout of the place or the factory. The monster most likely did. It was dark and winding, like a lair Jared thought bitterly. He used to die here without a fight, though. The chemicals. Maybe he could use the... Do you mean to skip past that? Maybe he could use that to hurt the monster. Quickly backtracked his way to the room he had seen the chemicals in. Monster's heavy footsteps startlingly close behind him. Jared forced open a container and then hurled it straight at the monster's face. Heard it howl as he raced down the hallway. Alice soon gave way to a cackling noise as Jared's blood ran cold. Brought him some more time at least, hadn't it? Jared soon came across an intersecting hallway. It was almost pitch black. Jared went left and prayed it wasn't a dead end. But I guess it is a dead end. There were a lot of locked rooms down here. Heard the exit wasn't one of them. Thorn could be lying about here being an exit. Yeah, could be lying about there being an exit down here, of course. Could hear the monster turning a corner behind him. Jared ran straight into a wall, cursed and fought his way around the corner. So dark down here. Either way to hurt or divert the monster's attention, or he was done for. Just as he thought that, he felt a hot breath on his neck. Instincts kicked in and he batted it away, but realizing that it was one of the stringy parts of the monster's flesh and not the main body. But if it could reach him then the body couldn't be far behind. Think. What could he do? Desperation, he grasped at a nearby doorknob, miraculously as it wasn't locked. He ran into the room quickly and locked it behind him. There was an almost instant impact. The door bent inward slightly. Something slid under the tiny space below the door. Jared huffed and looked around. There was a tiny bit of light in this room, coming from a flickering, dying light bulb. There was a bunch of random stuff in here. He wasn't sure what the space was supposed to be for. He looked around for anything he could find, or anything he could use. But a minute or so passed, he heard the lock on the door click open. Great, he can use these fleshy bits to also lock it, or unlock it. Unless he has lockpicks on him, or, a key. Monster entered and found a metal cabinet crashing down on his body, knocking it over. Joe climbed on top of the back of the cabinet and jumped over the monster. Joe was honestly surprised that worked. He glanced back for a second to see that the monster was grinning and putting everything back where it was supposed to be. It was toying with him, wasn't it? Now Jared could feel a bit of anger rising up inside of him. He wanted to chase him. He wanted him to be scared, running for his life as long as possible. Jared gritted his teeth and ran to the end of the hallway and down another corner. Just how big was this place? Didn't matter. He saw a small metal spiral staircase. The exit sign hung near it, and he renewed his speed. Quickly climbed at the top and pushed on another metal door that also had an exit sign on it. Door opened and he stepped out into the streets. Joe blinked in the sudden brightness. He was on the other side of the factory, he guessed. The building itself loomed behind him. He still had to get away, though he wondered. Those monsters and fairy tales and stories he had heard he didn't like. Also, the area of the factory he had just been in was deliberately kept dark. Could the monster even follow him out here? Well, I'm sure we're just about to find out. Not that stopped Jared from running away from the factory. He did look back when he heard the factory door open. It's hard to say when he saw the monster step out into the open. It was moving a lot slower though. Whether it was injured by the shells or weak against daylight, Jared didn't care. He tried to put as much distance between them as he could. It appeared to work. Running for several minutes, he got to the point where he hadn't seen a monster in a while. Well, maybe that's what the monster wants you to think. Soon the factory was far behind him, and he was walking down the street again. And we're back here again. Jared ended up in a shopping district with a lot of people around. He decided to try and join the crowd. He became too tired to run. If the monster had a keen sense of smell, maybe all the other people around would throw his scent off. Jared tried to slow his breathing. What was that monster? Oh, it doesn't matter. He needed to figure out what Thorn was up to make sure his family was alright. And he also needed to figure out how to clear his name. Jared spied some policemen looking through the crowd. They didn't have any to be wary of them now too. So he made the hairs on the back of Jared's neck prickle when he looked back. There was someone walking through the crowd. A person who looked oddly familiar filled Jared with dread, but he couldn't quite place why. Then he noticed. Oh, you're a creepy looking fella. The man was wearing the same cloak the monster had on. When he reached out his hand silently, bright white eyes fixed on Jared's. Oh, are you a shapeshifter of some kind then? Jared jerked forward out of his reach. He ended up knocking into someone. He said a quick apology and he pushed forward. The monster had turned into a human? Was there any way for him to escape it then? On the bright side, it was trying to blend into the crowd, which meant it didn't want to be detected. What should Jared do? Find the police or keep running? He said himself that he can't trust the police anymore, they'll take him in otherwise. Let's keep running. The police involved was too much of a risk. Jared decided he would have to shake this monster. Moving through the crowd as quickly as he could without rousing suspicion, Jared made his way to an alley. Now what? Was he getting tired? But he had more to work with out here. What could kill a man-eating monster? It would have to be heavier than a metal shelf. He looked up and down the street as he wandered it. He had just wandered into. Someone had just left their truck running. Must have gone through a nearby store real quick to grab something. Jared didn't have time to lose. He ran over to the truck, waited for the right moment, and then dropped something heavy on the gas pedal. Jared jumped away from the truck as it barreled down the street and ran into the monster as it emerged from the alley. People nearby were exclaiming and rushing over to help. The monster didn't get up. Jared still didn't want to be nearby when the cops came, so he ran again. Let's just hope it wasn't like a hallucination or something and I just killed an innocent passerby. Or bypasser, I should say. In a few minutes, Jared stopped. He put his hands on his knees and tried to catch his breath. He was glad that it was finally over. Where was he anyway? Of course he's not fucking dead. It wouldn't be that simple, was it? He lifted his head and froze as his eyes once again connected with the wide eyes of the monster. With a wicked grin, it shed its human form. Oh, and we're going to a different character now. Adrian. Outside the window, it was getting cloudy and dark. It looked like it might rain. Adrian huddled close to the window, and what muted light shone through it. She hugged the stuffed puppy she had brought with her to the stranger's attic. She had longed to get away, finding a hiding place where the fear and pressure wouldn't reach her. But she wasn't sure running away had solved anything at all. Now she was lonely, in addition to everything else. But she couldn't bring herself to go back either. She had wanted time to think, but all she could think of was dreadful thoughts, hounding the back of her mind that she tried desperately to push away. Shaking her head, she jumped to her feet. After grabbing an umbrella, she crawled out of the hole in the attic wall and lowered herself onto the street. Despite the threat of rain and darkness, she needed to get some air. Even at this time of day, people were walking along the street. People going home for the night. Adriana pretended she was perfectly placed here, going home as well, or going to a friend's house for the night. It was the simple things, right? The things you took for granted until your world turned upside down. For a few moments she was just a girl, just herself, walking, just felt lighter. There's a family walking towards her, mother, father, and 3 children. Children were excited and laughing, talking about the movie they had just gone to see. Slowed down as they passed her by, then stopped. Turned and stared at the family. Such a happy family. Tears threatened to spill down her cheeks as she clutched her chest. It hurts. She ran down the street and ran. Down corners and alleys until she was out of breath. She sat down in the deserted alley, dark and cold and damp, with the promise of rain, and tried not to think at all. Eventually, though, she had to move. She had to make a decision. But since she was still lost and confused in her own mind, all she could think of was to go back to the attic. With a foggy mind and a heavy heart, she set out to retrace her steps. It started to drizzle. She mechanically opened up the umbrella. Something pricked at the back of Adrian's mind. Something foreign yet familiar. A chill ran down her spine as she cast aside her umbrella and ran. It may be for the best on a night like this, but we're going back to Jared, who's still seemingly alive. Which is a good sign, maybe. Haven't killed him yet. Jared tripped and fell onto the muddy ground. Fortunately for him, he had entered a construction site that was littered with loose bricks. I mean, some loose bricks that I could throw to smash the monster's head in, maybe? This was it, Jared thought. This was where he was going to die. Footsteps heavy and slow approached, confident as ever. Monster laughed. You put up a good fight, human. Much better than the tiny ones did. Jared felt sick. Monster didn't say anything for a moment. Just an expression of repulsive joy spreading across his face. I think I'll let you have your wish. You won't die by my hand. Thorn did give me many fine sacrifices. I've grown big and strong. But I can sense another of my kin nearby. Surely they could use a fine meal such as yourself. God, there's more than one of you. God, there's more than one of you. It's also morbid to think that maybe all those extra parts that are coming out of the monster is also from his victims. Kind of morbid, but anyway. Jared slowly raised himself up to his knees. Monster walked away. Jared could hear other footsteps fast approaching, however, scorching in the fresh mud. Goodbye, human. May you give strength to my family. Jared wasn't sure what he had been about to say, but it didn't matter. The monster who had been chasing him had left. Another one was coming for him. He was so exhausted, but this one was smaller, right? Maybe he used the rest of his strength he could win. Quickly picked up a brick and he had tripped on. Hey, now you're starting to get the idea. Dark silhouette appeared before him. Threw the brick with all his might. Creature yelped and ducked for cover. Jared cursed. How did you manage to hit the monster? Well, good thing for you, we got plenty of other bricks to use. Began to laugh mostly. He had been so confident. Thought that he could take Thorn down, handle any situation that was thrown his way. Now he was going to die here, able to accomplish anything. Thought of his family. They could miss him. He had been so caught up in these strange murders that he hadn't even gone home for the last few weeks. Wished he had gone to visit them. Right, you monster. Get it over with. Eat me, torture me, I don't care. I don't want to hurt you. Huh? Gentle voice drifted over the rain, timid and quiet. Couldn't help but say something in surprise. The voice was that of a young girl. The girl that we just met earlier with her story? Oh yeah, it is. Came to see if you were hurt. I'm sorry. Did they hurt you? You know about the monsters? You need to be careful. Things said another of his kin was on his way. Tried trying to stand up, but suddenly felt even weaker. There was a scratch on his arm, and it started to throb. Is that what he called me? She sounded sad and lost. Jared was confused. Was Monster talking about this girl? Moved out from behind the covers, presumably because she thought he wasn't going to throw projectiles at her anymore. She definitely looked human, not fake human like the monster did. Yet, Monster left when he heard her coming. She obviously knew about their existence. What are you? Consciousness was starting to fade. You're hurt. Can you stand? Okay, now we're back onto Adrian's side point of view. Rain had graduated from a drizzle to a downpour. Adrian carefully half-carried, half-dragged the stranger through the streets, kept slipping in and out of consciousness. Thankfully, she was strong for her age. She had reassured him that she would get him to a hospital, but he vehemently opposed the idea. He wasn't sure why. So, with no better ideas in mind, she headed for her attic hideout. Getting him there wasn't a problem, but getting him inside was a hassle. The third time he nearly slipped down to the ground, she contemplated just breaking into the empty house, which she had been avoiding doing all this time. But she eventually managed to get inside. They're both soaked, but she had a ton of blankets and a space heater. She hoped it would be enough. At least he wasn't dead, she thought as she watched him fitfully rest on a sleeping bag. Heard the injury wasn't serious. It was a small scratch, but was it poisonous? Asa put it into her head that he would survive it and be fine by morning. Part of her hated the fact that she knew stuff like this, but knowledge did have its uses. She could spend the night here without worrying about him at least. It was odd having a stranger in the attic though. Every time her thoughts drifted off his tossing and turning, occasionally moaning, drawing her back into the small space. Must have been having a nightmare. She wondered what he was seeing deep in his mind, and she wondered what would happen when he woke. She was a little nervous about someone else knowing about her secret hiding place. Then again, she wasn't the one who found his spot, so it hadn't been a secret in the first place. She listened to the rain pouring down outside. Rained the whole night. And now we're back to Jared, who is, by the sounds of it, waking up. But yay, he's dead. I wasn't saying yay, he's dead. No, yay, he's alive, so I guess I chose right, thankfully. Jared awoke to bright sunshine against his eyelids. He stared up at the ceiling roof of an attic. He could scarcely believe he was awake. So many dark dreams had swirled around in his head last night that they seemed never-ending. He thought perhaps he was dying. Well, I mean, you were close to it, so... But here he was, groggy, damp, and a bit cold, but alive. Covered in blankets next to a space heater, with the girl sleeping, her arms hugging her knees by a window. He sat up and the girl blinked awake. Oh, sorry, did I doze off? You watched over me? Apparently not. She yawned and rubbed her eyes. You saved my life. Thank you. She smiled slightly. I'm glad I was able to do something. As soon as I felt him nearby, I thought for sure someone was going to die. Well, someone nearly did, but you saved them. That person being me, Jared. You felt him, the same way he sensed you. You need to tense up a bit. Yeah. Not really sure why or how, but I can sense when there are monsters around. Sometimes other things about them. Not like them though, I would never hurt anyone. And clearly, you risked your life to save mine. It was very brave. Not really. What are you going to do now? I'm not sure yet. I'm Jared. What's your name? I'm Adrian. Adrian? What? Looked away from him suddenly. Does it matter? Oh, Jared thought as a realization kicked in. Of course she doesn't want me to know. Looks like she ran away from home. Well, it's not like I need the information anyway. Never mind. Thank you so much, Adrian. I suppose it isn't fair to ask you for anything else, since you already saved my life. But will you help me? Eyebrows drew closer together as she frowned. How could I do that? You said you could sense them. At this point I know nothing about these monsters. No way of detecting them or defending myself from them. I do know there is someone working with them that wants me gone. Could you at least accompany me to a phone so I can call my family? You can refuse if you don't want to. I certainly don't want to put you in any danger. I'll go. Thank you. Please, if there's any danger, run away. Don't try to help me. I'm not scared of them. Even if you're not, I don't want to put you in danger. They think of me a family, remember? They won't hurt me. Said the words quickly, as if it pained her to speak them. She shivered again. Noticed her clothes were wet too. Stared at him and then seemed to resign herself to something. She sighed. There's probably a washer and dryer in the house below us. Maybe even some dry clothes. Oh yay, now we're resorting to, stealing. I mean, already, been sought after for supposed murder, so what's a little theft as well on top of that? But yeah, we're going back to Adriana again. A scene in Cydia. And we're back outside again. Oh, and we get a better look at Jared this time. Jared and Adrian walk down the street together. For a moment, Adrian smiled, pretending that they were father and daughter. Oh, cute. There's a pavement over there. Alright, I'll wait here. You sure? I don't want to invade your privacy. Oh, aren't you a sweet girl? Try to be quick, if you sense anything. Yeah, I know. She watched him walk away in silence. She was playing God today, she thought. The thought immediately made her sad, however, since it brought back memories of those she never had a chance to save. Kicked a bevel and then felt a sensation prickling against her mind. Monster was close, coming very quickly. But this one was far more familiar with. Looked up at the window and it was already perched there. A little winged monster that was staring at her with a grin upon his face. She knew this one very well indeed. This was the monster that helped her find her hiding place. Oh, okay. So there are a few monsters that we can trust. Good to know. Monster chirped and then glided towards her. Landed on her shoulder, dug his claws into her shirt and took off. Adrian yelped as she went soaring through the air. The monster chirped again and made a sharp turn before barreling downward. All happened too fast for Adrian to see, but somehow they had gone underground, making their way through tunnels of rough earth. Okay, maybe there aren't that many monsters we can trust then. Damn it. It was narrow and dark, and Adrian was amazed the monster was able to make its way through without bumping into the sides. Slowly she noticed a dim light up ahead. The monster steered toward her and then into a larger room. Dropped her and she landed gently on her feet. Thank you for bringing her. Okay, you're just as creepy as the last monster we met. Huh? In Cydia. It's not what I envisioned. I didn't realize there was going to be another monster. Very well met, I guess. Hello, Adrian. My name is Cydia. You don't know me, but I've been watching over you since, well, before you were born. Adrian blinked at the monster that was standing before her. She'd never met a talking one before, though she had known they existed. Not only that, but the room they were in looked like an odd sort of home. You must forgive the sudden summons, but I figured it was best if we met before things change. What is this place? Oh, this... A quiet place where we can talk without being disturbed. You can sit if you'd like. Adrian had noticed there was an oddly normal-looking table and a set of chairs. She said a quick thank you and sat down. Of course, my dear. So, in Cydia, what do you mean by things are changing? And what are you exactly? And what am I? I was wondering if you knew or not. I do know you can sense others of your kin, but I guess the knowledge of who we are is slow in coming to your consciousness. No matter, I may not have time to answer all your questions now, my dear, but they will come to you on their own in time. It is the nature of being our father's daughter. Father? Ah, my poor darling, you really do know nothing. Don't worry, soon all will be set right. I'm glad I asked you to be brought here. Just wanted you to be made aware that the nature of this city is about to change, and not to be frightened. Your life is going to alter drastically soon, but it is for the better, I assure you. Adrian looked down at her hands folded on the table. Change how? She seemed to think for a moment. Tell me, Adrian, have you ever heard the name Eislyns? Eislyns? From the fairy tale? She said Memoria, I think. I don't really remember. It's not a fairy tale. She is the one who created Memoria and guides it still. She is the soul of Memoria itself. She hurt Father deeply a long time ago. First time there was an edge in Cydia's voice. She must really hate her, Adrian thought. The existence of the city is a mockery of everything our father wished for. We've been working for many years to make Eislyns pay for her betrayal, and we have finally succeeded. Very soon, Memoria will be wrestled from Eislyns' grasp. There may be some discord during this transition. Just wanted you to be aware, so don't fret and trust in us. The city will belong to us soon. Consoling, telling her not to worry, but Adrian had never worried about herself. She felt really numb as she asked her other question. What's my part in all this? The look Cydia gave it was one of happiness, or perhaps even pride. You, my dearest, will be the final instrument of Eislyns' destruction. Adrian still had that weird numb feeling as the falling monster dropped her off where he had found her and took off into the sky. Well, hopefully nothing bad happened to the Jarrows in the meantime. Knew deep down that Cydia's plans taking over the city meant that the people within wouldn't survive. Suddenly the burden she had been carrying expanded to a degree she couldn't even comprehend. Cydia was all she knew of the world, all she had ever known, and soon everyone and everything in it was going to disappear forever. Joe returned and walked up to her. Thankfully he was alright while she was gone. I'm done, ready to go. And he didn't even notice that we mysteriously disappeared for a little bit. Started walking down the street. Can I ask you something? What is it? Do you know the fairy tale about Memoria? That has a girl named Eislyns in it? Yeah, I know it quite well. Can you tell it to me? Sure. Once in the days before Memoria had become a city, while it was still a tiny town, a shadow fell upon its houses and fields. The shadow blotted out the sun and threatened to kill all things. Soon after it appeared, a woman came. Her name was Eislyns. She climbed to the peak of the tallest mountain, challenged the shadow. "Your battle be with me," she said, "not the people of the town." And so they fought, and he feared for the lone Eislyns. But the woman was more than she appeared. Lights welled up inside of her and shot through the shadow, dispersing it. Some returned and the town rejoiced. Eislyns herself was nowhere to be found, but from henceforth the town was blessed, grew rapidly, and nearby fields only grew the most splendid crops. Some say Spirit watches over Moria still. Wife is very fond of her story. In fact, she gave me this base of it. Showed her the golden watch he hung around his neck. Apparently red flowers are a symbol for Eislyns. Adrian stared at it for a moment. "I see. Jared, what are you going to do now?" "I'm going to do my best to figure out what these monsters are and stop them." Adrian stopped walking. "Something wrong?" "You can't." "Why not?" "You won't be able to stop the monsters. Not on your own. You should go back to your family and leave the city." "I already told them to leave." "What?" "Honestly, I don't want them here with this mess, especially if Thorn knows who I am. But I'm staying. Though the odds of me beating these monsters seems dim, especially after you had to save me last night. But this is just something I have to do. But I think the situation is more dire than you believe. Go with them." "I can't." "Yeah, I didn't realize Adrian. Yeah. "I can't. I appreciate you wanting to look out for me, but no matter how many monsters there may be, I have to try to stop them. Besides, you're suffering because of them too. I can't leave you to deal with this on your own." Adrian blinked. He wanted to help her. The monsters aren't on their own either. They're obviously connected to Thorn somehow, so they aren't completely out of human influence. Perhaps he even created them. Adrian knew better then, but she stayed silent. They began to walk again. Adrian watched as Jared noticed a police officer and turned down another street to avoid crossing paths with him. "What is it?" Adrian started after realizing she had it out loud. "I was wondering, why are you avoiding the police?" His eyes clouded and he stared into the distance. "I've been afraid for murder." "Murder?" Was an answer she had been expecting, though it did explain his actions. She had been considering telling him to talk to the police as a means of getting help. Didn't want to get involved with them for her own reasons, but she thought he could. But it looked like that path wasn't open to him either. "I've been investigating a series of murders known as the Silent Killings." Trying to explain the situation, Adrian grew more and more sad. Apparently a guard named John Teal had information about the most recent murders, so Thorn made it seem like I killed him for being a witness. So they think I'm the serial killer now. Adrian's eyes grew wide. "John's dead?" Jared's own eyes widened. "Did you know him?" Adrian closed her eyes. She left the orphanage because she was worried she'd hurt others somehow. But they still weren't safe, were they? "He was kind, even to me. I want this to stop." Tears fell from Adrian's eyes. Oh, poor girl. Can we give her a hug? I feel like she needs a hug. I feel like everybody needs a hug. Jared put his hand on her shoulder. I guess that will do instead. "As do I. I'll get to the bottom of this. It's so foolish of me to think running away would solve anything. I should have warned them. Just calm down a second. What happened?" "We're going in for a flashback scene by the sounds of it. Ooh, this is kinda cool and spooky. We need one more player. I'll play. No, you're weird. I am not. Behave, you two. Come on, let's go to the other room. Aw, not that weird, am I? Adrian, you're a very special girl. Most people can't tolerate anyone that is remarkable. Here, I know you wanted a dog, but we can't keep animals here. Adrian's aunt presented her with a stuffed dog, complete with a red ribbon as a collar. Adrian exclaimed happily when she received it. Someday you'll find people who understand you. Just hang out until then, alright? I'll be okay. Good girl. Alright, left then. So cute. Not ready to give up though. I'm sure there's someone here who would like me. But how she might try, Adrian could only seem to find other kids her age who would tolerate her at most. And her friend was proving difficult. Are you okay? You look tired. I had a nightmare last night. Oh really? What kind? Were you being chased by something? I love nightmares. Yeah, okay, I can kinda see why the kids are mean to her, but doesn't mean they should be mean to her. Everyone stared at her like she had two heads. Adrian's enthusiasm waned. The whole point of a nightmare is that it's horrible. How could she like nightmares? Everyone likes it when people are scared. Do you want to bet she's gonna grow up to be a murderer? It's not true. Adrian didn't like to see other people scared or in pain. But being chased in a dream was thrilling, wasn't it? Our kids didn't seem to see it that way. But when she expressed her love for all things dark and gruesome in stories and fairy tales, back away further. She decided to switch gears and observe the other kids a while and adopt their interests. Tried to hide her apparently unusual tastes, but every once in a while she'd slip up. Alright everyone, let's see what you drew. I drew a pony. I drew Superman, the greatest hero in the world. Mine's more of a scene. Adrian showed everyone her picture, so the children screamed. He was actually trying to give us nightmares. How could she ever come up with something like that? Told you she's gonna be a murderer for sure. Alright, settle down. Well drawn, Adrian. Let's continue. Adrian waited until all the children who were murmuring and laughing about the event now left the room. Is it really that bad? Really toned it down from my original idea. They're young and have a simple mind. It doesn't take much to frighten them, much like mice. I think you did a lovely job, Adrian. Why don't you go play in the garden? Okay. A nice yet simple garden. Adrian did as she was told and continued her melancholy in the garden. She was so lost in her own thoughts she didn't even notice the gardener arrive. Oh my, child-shaped bush. I wonder when that sprouted. Sorry, I didn't mean to be in your way. Sprang away and clutched her stuffed pony close. Adrian had always felt calmer around the gardener. Everyone Adrian had ever met, for as far back as she could remember, had flinched away from her upon first meeting her. Tom the gardener did the same, but he didn't react quite as strongly as most people did. There was only one person that flinched at all. Adrian wished she could meet her again, but she didn't know anything about that girl, not even her name. You're fine. You look a little down. Did something happen? Well, she told him about how hard she had been trying to blend in with the other children, and then what happened with the pictures. Even censored the blood, and just gave them black ooze. Oh, I see. Perhaps you're destined to be a horror enthusiast. Are people obsessed with terror? It's a genre. I suppose there aren't any horror movies or books allowed in the orphanage. I'll bring you some when I stop by next week. Thank you. So every week, John the gardener brought Adrian a book to read, gratefully sunk into the dark worlds of the author's mind and felt a little less lonely. As the years went on by, the situation didn't change much. Basically stuck by herself most of the time, tried her best to help her aunt and the others when she could. When some of the kids started to bully her, particularly Mom, Adrian wasn't that fazed by it. I found the whole social dynamic of kids at the orphanage feeling too odd. Mom has been adopted by a kind couple. Announcement was quite sudden, but that was how it was sometimes. Some of the kids were surprised, including Adrian. Another kid who had been mean to Adrian had been adopted out. Adrian started to wonder if potential parents would actually like kids with mean streaks. When she went to pick up a book from John, she noticed that he looked a bit anxious, as did quite a few of the other staff members, excluding Adrian's aunt. Her face was unreadable as always. It made Adrian wonder though. This wasn't the first time they all looked anxious after a child had been adopted. I don't think they've been adopted. It's just adults trying to cover up a story when they don't want to face or let children know about death because you shouldn't have to face it at that age, so. One day something strange happened. A day that the gardener wasn't supposed to come, Adrian went out to play in the garden and she saw something. There on the fence was an odd-winged creature, a tiny monster. Adrian stared at it, captivated. Hello. What's this thing happy and chirped in greeting? What are you, I wonder? Calmly approached and petted the creature. Seemed happy and fluttered around her head after she stopped. Flew away and out of sight when another child went into the garden to call her in for supper. Next day the monster was there again. Quickly became friends with it. Didn't come every day, but over time she even started to be able to sense its presence, like a tinkle in her mind. Days that came, she would happily meet it in the garden so that they could go on little adventures. Adrian was actually quite strong and agile, was able to escape the grounds of the orphanage with ease. Sometimes they would play hide and seek in the garden or in the nearby streets. Didn't go too far, of course. She didn't want to risk worrying her aunt. Meetings with the monster became a part of her life. Then one time, didn't come to the orphanage for 3 weeks. Started to worry that something had happened to it. Perhaps I started to hate her for some reason. Then she felt a strong sensation. She could sense the monster nearby. It felt slightly different, more intense, but she chalked it up to her senses becoming more powerful. As soon as she could get a moment to herself, she slipped away from the orphanage and ran down the streets towards it. What was it doing? It was somewhere away from the main street, down by the nearby river. She ran through some alleys and then froze when she came across another monster. This one was far larger, bigger than Adrian. It was feeding something, a corpse. She realized in shock. It stopped what it was doing and turned to look at her. Wondered if she should run. Then, much like a strange ability to sense those creatures, unaccounted-for knowledge found its way to her consciousness. The creature was a friend. It was killing for her sake as much as its own. Thought made her sick to her stomach. She slowly backed away and went back to the way she came, causing only to throw up once. I'm not sure what it was killing for her sake meant until the next day. Aunt announced another child had been very suddenly adopted out. Another kid that was mean to Adrian. lost by the river. It was her fault. She drawing the monsters here. They were killing for her sake. Wasn't sure what to do. She felt awful. Didn't know what she meant to those monsters, but she had to figure out how to deal with this new knowledge. Needed time. Every moment she spent in the orphanage was just another moment spent visualizing a target on everyone's back. She had to leave. Soon after she decided that, inexplicably, was when her flying friend decided to appear again. First it acted normal, so there hadn't been a huge gap in time since the last meet. Then it seemed to be able to sense her feelings and snuggled up on her shoulder. Then it guided her to a hideout where she could be alone, like in an empty house. Poor girl, been through a lot. Took Adrian a while to calm down and explain herself. As she had started to be able to sense monsters, as she learned that they were killing children for her. As she had distanced herself in hopes of helping them, figuring out what to do. Joe could tell she really felt guilty about the deaths, but he knew she wasn't at fault. She didn't want that fate for those children. Joe decided he had better head to the orphanage and talk to Miss Nightingale herself. Adrian came with. So, if you're from Nightingale Orphanage, you lost your parents? It's just, well, my mother went insane shortly after I was born, so I've been staying with my aunt. And she's the head of the orphanage. Technically there with her most days. Do you really think she's responsible for what's been happening to the other kids? Chad suddenly chided himself for not being so blunt, but he had to be honest now. I suspect it, but I'm not sure, of course. Have you noticed anything off about your aunt? I don't think she'd do something like that. Looks sad. Judd decided not to press any further. Well, it's just my opinion. Don't have any evidence that could prove her involvement, so she may as well be innocent. Soon they arrived at the orphanage. We quickly ran out to greet Adrian. Adrian, thank goodness you're right. Sorry for worrying you. Is my aunt here? She left, actually. Oh, I understand. Thank you. No, I mean, she left. Remember how she said she was going to take a trip? Yeah? It was quite sudden. She had been planning to take one soon, but she decided to leave early. I'm really sorry, but you could stay here with us until she comes back. That seems rather suspicious. Suddenly all the shit starts happening and she goes on a trip, eh? Edwin looked shocked and Jared didn't blame her. Had her aunt been worried about her? How could she just up and go on a vacation while Adrian was missing? Jared guessed she was guilty and fled the city. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking as well. Plus the gardener named John had witnessed something that would implicate her. She wanted to leave regardless of how the situation had turned out. Or maybe Thorn threatened her and she left. That could also have been a thing. He could have threatened her the same way he threatened Jared here. That could also be a thing. Oh, I'll be alright. Yes, I remember her saying she was going to leave. I have somewhere I can stay, thank you. If you're sure, you can always come back by, you know. No need to be shy. Alright, thank you. Sorry, sir, did you want something? No, it's fine. Let the orphanage under the curious stare at the woman. She looked stressed out. The woman? She always looked that way when somebody dies. That doesn't sound good. He's really gone. Joe didn't know what else to say to that. Must have been hard for her, having tragedy happen so often you grow used to the signs. My aunt, I don't think she would. He trailed off and then continued a moment later. Maybe it's that I don't want to think she would. She always seemed bitter behind her mask. Bitter at this place, cynical about people. I don't know why. I don't know anymore. All I do know is something terrible is going to happen. You can sense that? No, one of them told me. I want to take over Memoria. And they told me they needed me to help them do it. Which means... So, you're working with the Nordmeyer. Okay, who are you? Two of them jumped as someone wearing an unusual outfit approached. Lifted a strange-looking contraption and the orb light shot itself onto Adrian. Hey, yo, you stay the fuck back away from her, mate. What the? Jared Varden, you're under arrest. Oh god, you're working with the fucking police. Of course you are. For the murder of children Memoria. But he didn't kill them. She's alive? Man seemed genuinely shocked. Jared looked down at her in concern. I'm fine, it didn't hurt me. We should get out of here. Adrian looked worried but unharmed. Jared breathed a sigh of relief. Stood in front of her and addressed the stranger. Just who do you think you are anyway? Taking a young girl and arresting me? Obviously not a police officer. I am one of the guardians of Memoria. Those who are involved in the plot to destroy the city are my enemy. The strange contraption created a blade of light. Neither one of us are trying to destroy the city. We're trying to stop these monsters, just like you. He's not gonna listen, Jared. The man then charged at Jared, swinging the glowing sword down in a wide arc. Jared quickly pushed Adrian out of the way and dodged. The sword hit the pavement and left a burn mark. Jared cursed. Go. As he shouted at Adrian, shadows began to move around the edges of the street. Masses of tiny things squirmed and seemed to emit physical shadows. Flooded the streets and started to create a dome reaching for the zenith of the sky. Jared hesitated. Where could they run to? Tiny monsters were circling the perimeter, had nowhere to go. Adrian didn't seem to have the same qualms. He grabbed his hand and jumped straight into the shadows. Behind him, Jared could hear clangs and sizzling sounds as the stranger's sword pierced the shadow with light. Darkness felt sticky and solid, yet they could walk through it. After they made their way to the other side, Adrian bent down and talked to one of the small creatures. Thank you. Jared watched her with them and felt disturbed. Looked at her with a grotesque version of love and awe in their twisted faces. Didn't speak, but Adrian seemed to receive an answer from him somehow anyway. They say the barrier won't last long. You need to run before the man breaks through. Yeah, and so they did. Jared glad to leave the monsters behind him. Okay, so she can speak to the shadows as well. Great.